Hello guys, today I've got a lot of work to do in the town hall. I've got case work in my notes, a load of stuff in my diary, and a form to fill in for Bolton at home. So I'm going to be a bit busy. Jen is out at an appointment with a doctor, so I've got about an hour, and I better get to it. Wow, it's a bit bright today on this, oh, that's calming down now, okay. Just walking back up from town. Jen and I have been down there. She's been at an appointment, as I think I've mentioned already. I was doing my casework. We're going home now via Bolton at home because I've got to drop off a form. One that I picked up after the meeting yesterday. So it's a bit of a trek, but it's worth doing. But I was having an interesting conversation on the internet earlier on because of a political cartoon that's in the Evening Standard, which has a kind of 1920s Disney-esque animation look to it, and a square speech bubble. And that got me wondering, was a square speech bubble appropriate for that style of art? And that got me and a few other people, mainly Wendy Wood from Gilbert and Grimm comic, which is worth having a look at, link in the description box. We got talking about the history of speech bubbles and whether that kind of art style fits with that kind of speech bubble. She pointed out something that I hadn't even thought about. That 1920s style got aped a lot in the 80s for alternative comics and zines. If you remember the zine scene as it was, which I do because I was a big fan of it. That kind of speech bubble and that kind of art style didn't work. And that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought of it that way. So the Evening Standard, their comic artist is kind of aping the 80s anti-Thatcherist zine scene for political comics, only using Theresa May instead, which is an interesting way of doing things. So that's something that I'm going to have to keep an eye on, because that is quite fascinating. From a comic nerd point of view, that is really fascinating. But I think next Comic Fridays episode is going to have a discussion on speech bubbles and their use and development through history, because I think that is really fascinating, and I think some other people from the comics scene would also find it fascinating. So yeah.
A lot of these fasteners have been stolen. I think somebody's going to try and steal these.
Possibly, but I was just thinking, you weren't very interested when I was talking to you about the speech bubbles, were you?
It's like white noise to me.
Yeah, that's same when I have you and Trans to be honest with you.
Yeah, but you like saying zine scene. That seems to be your phrase of the day.
Hey, it rhymes. I like it. I like rhyming things.
Scene.
I like rhyming joke things. It's been a busy day so far. I've still got a lot to do. Jen and I were down in town, and Jen decided we should go to CEX, have a look, because we had that voucher that we picked up yesterday and didn't use. So we did. Finally got a Nintendo 64 memory expansion, so that was most of the voucher used up. And then I found a couple of games. I'm going to show you them in a moment. And went over the voucher price. I don't mean to be picking up anything else for this month, basically, because I'm at my limit now of what I want to use in terms of giving cash to CEX. So, let's get settled, and then we'll talk about the games. Right, sat down, I've got everything set up, let's do this. First of all, we had to pick up this Rayman Anniversary. It's a 3-disc set, and it's in good condition for the Rayman games. And we have all of these before in individual things. They've got all the games here, good condition manual as well, very happy. Like I said, we've got them all, but they're in the individual things. That's one of those collector's things, so that's going into the collection, mainly so that we can finish the collection off eventually. Similarly, Rugby League, the first one. I thought we already had this, but it turns out we only got Rugby League 2 twice. No manual this time, but the rest of it's in pretty good condition. So, very happy to have that finally in the set. And similarly, one for the Xbox set. CSI Crime Scene Investigation. I mean, 50p for these two, plus 6 with the other one. It's not much, but it adds to the set, all in good condition as well, so very nice to add that to the set. But the one that I had to have, and the moment I saw it, I thought, yeah, I'm going to go over the voucher size, and that's Fantastic Dizzy on the Mega Drive to complement the Game Gear one, but also because it's in such good condition. It's boxed. Now, 2T UK, and I've linked to him in the description bar below. He has pointed this out a few times, that boxed stuff for Mega Drive is what you go for. You don't go for mint unless you absolutely have to have a mint condition manual, because this is classed as boxed, which means it's not mint. But everything's here. Hardly opens, hardly been opened. Manual's here. The game's here. The only thing that's missing from this, the only reason that this isn't mint, is there's a manual here but no map. There should be a map with a Dizzy game. But it's not that. And to be honest with you, I don't mind, because that's the bit that I wanted. The box and the game. So I'm very happy. Right, I've got some scripts to get on with. Oh, sorry. Also, Nintendo 64 memory expansion. Which I've got to work out. I'm going to have to look at the instructions on YouTube on how to add this in. I'm not sure which way it goes around or how you add it. So I'm going to go and do that now. Anyway, after that, I've got scripts to finish off. So, go back to work. Right, I don't know how much you're going to see of this, because I'm very quickly trying to install the power pack into the N64. I've disconnected it from the wall and everything else. I'm going to follow the instructions now. Nintendo website has all the details according to Google. So, let's follow these instructions. Get the memory expansion thing off. It says, do not remove this. Well, I've got no red label. Oh, I do have a red label. Well, that seems to be on the jump. Oh, right, it goes over the jumper. Right. There's a red label. Right, there's a red label here that says do not remove this label, but the instructions here say to remove it. So I'm going to try and get that off. What does now? Oh, I see. And now we're supposed to use a tool that I don't have to get that out, so and set the tool into the back. Oh, I see. And push downwards. There. Lever it out a bit. There we are. That comes out very easily. Oh, right, I see. Oh, it's very much like the back. So we just stick this in there, do we? There we are. Excellent. There we are. Well, that was a lot quicker and easier than I expected. Let's go and test it out. It works. Excellent. Right, now to test the other games out, get on with scripting and see how the day goes from there. You know how yesterday I did that thing where I was trying to set up that new keyboard? Well, I've got a flashing light on the back. Doesn't seem to want to do it. Well, none of the keys on the left-hand side, so escape, tab, caps lock, shift, things like that, none of them were functioning, and it keeps not finding it when I'm booting the computer, so got to go back to the old style one. Oh well, I tried. What can I say? I tried. Right, I'm taking a little break from the script writing, and I'm going to talk about this. Now, I mentioned it yesterday that the cover to Fantastic Dizzy on Game Gear has come off because it always did, and it's a bit of a mess on this cartridge. I don't know how well you can see that in this light, but we're going to clean it up, and the way to do that is with a little bit of white spirit and some toilet rolls. So, I'm going to make sure that this is out of the way safely for the moment. So, a little bit of toilet roll. You won't need much. Just fold it over a bit. And just a dab of white spirit. Oh my goodness, this stuff stinks. Just a very small dab. Be very careful there. There's hardly any on it. You don't want too much, otherwise it'll go all over. And just gently clean the cover with it. This will dissolve the glue and get it all nice, because you want it prepared with a decent clean surface so that the glue can go back on when you put the game back on, cover back on it. Not cover, label, you know what I mean. It's cleaned up quite nicely. Now I've been very careful not to get it on the actual cartridge ROM bit where it connects into the system, but there we are. Now I'm going to quickly just rub this over with a dry bit of tissue, with a damp bit of tissue to make sure that's okay.
Clean the back of the sticker too.
Not yet. I am going to clean the back of the sticker bit. Right, just quickly rubbing it all the white stuff, all the white spirit off now. Hear that? Squeaky clean. Right, there we are, all nice and clean and shiny. Now, I'm going to very gently do the back of the label. Now, This is going to be difficult, because I don't want to make a big mess, and I don't want to go through onto the other side. So, let's see if I can do this. Okay, we're going to have to be very, very careful on this. Right. Basically a quick run over. Yeah, it hasn't come through, it's just still... Bleh. Right. I'm now going to let that dry before we stick it onto anything else. Oh, this stuff stinks. And there we are. It's got the majority of the glue off. There's still little bits here and there. But that's a smooth surface that we can now stick back onto. Now I know what you're probably thinking that I probably shouldn't have done that on the back of this. But it's got to be smooth to stick onto the game case itself. So, it's all there and it's all ready. Just waiting on Jen to bring in the glue, which she keeps in the shed because she uses it for trains, but I think it's ready. Right, Jen, what is this? All-purpose adhesive extra strong.
It's basically, that's all the glue I have.
That's not what we were wanting to hear. Right, I'm just going to apply small amounts of it to this and then put it straight on the cartridge.
Glue all the way to the edge, which was what I told you needed to do.
I did exactly what I could. Well, Jen decided that she had to burst in and take over. Apparently I never do anything right. So now, there's glue marks all over the cartridge. It wasn't on straight, I've managed to straighten it up. And we'll have to wait and see on whether she's got any actually onto the ROM chip itself. But hopefully it's okay. But apparently I don't do things right. Now the only issue with putting the label back onto a cartridge is that there is a bit of speckling that comes through due to the glue. So if you ever see one of these old Codemasters games with a bit of speckling on the label, it's because it's had to be re-glued. Unfortunately, that's the only option. You either leave the label off or you re-glue it and risk speckling. Personally, I'll go for risking speckling because I want the label actually on the cartridge so I know where it is when I'm trying to play them. Because that's how it is, but you never know. You might find someone who prefers to let the label just be perfect and pristine, just not on the cartridge. I'm not one of those people. I want a game to play it, not to look pretty on a shelf. Okay? Right. Back to work. Right guys, I'm hoping you can see me. I assume you can. Where's my... Oh, there it is. I'm about to try a game that I haven't played for an awful long time. I think the last time I played this was when I was about 10 or 12. And it's called Spin Drone. I had to ask about on Twitter earlier on if anyone knew what it was. Trying to describe it, probably getting it really badly wrong. Because I need to talk about it in another review that I'm doing for Game Hammer. I just finished the first of 3 Game Hammer reviews and I'm about to try this game out. Because I need to talk about it in the other review as a reference. But I thought, since I'm trying it out to make sure it's the right game and it's the one I'm actually thinking about, I may as well do a Game Hammer one-shot on it. I'm going to start off by, loading Java CPC again now. I've just realised I've turned it off. Getting these things to work is, problematic. But it's going to be worth it, right. Very simple controls. Less than moves left, greater than moves right. A to launch yourself up a bit, and space to fire. Not bad, not bad. Pretty simple. That's the kind of game I like for these things. Because it's simple, it's effective, and it's fun. I hope I'm on screen. Let's set this up. Sound file, yeah. Record only this part of the screen that I want. I always use Java CPC because I still can't get a proper signal through the Amstrad. I love the Amstrad, it's one of the best computers ever, but I can't get a good strong signal through my recording software, not software, hardware, through the ITV and things, so I have to use the Java CPC. So let's get started. There we are, we got some footage of Spin Drone, and it's a fun game. It's a fun arcade action experience. I really love it. I think you'll like it too if you give it a try. Give it a go. Well, the cats just looked at me then threw up after I finished that gaming session there for the review. So I think it's a pretty good indication that it's time to stop for the night. There's always a critic, isn't there?